Hi, Kimmy. Whew, what a day I've had here today. I'm Casey Christensen. I'm coming to you live from West Kelowna, BC. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today has been a day, let me tell you. The catalog went live yesterday. And so all kinds of activity and great things to watch and things to learn and things to do. And I've been trying out some stuff. I placed an order yesterday and almost immediately placed another one, and I got notification today that my order will be here on Monday, so I'm pretty excited about that. But today I thought we would look at something completely new in the catalog. A lot of the things from last year's catalog rolled over to this year's catalog, and that's pretty much what I've been working on so far. But today I thought I would play with something is new in the new catalog. I don't have too many things from the new catalog, only because we were only allowed to order certain things as demos. We were only allowed to pre-order certain things. So, and I didn't pre-order a lot, but this set right here, this Uniquely Artistic, this is a set that they sent me as a demo for going on a bit of a Stampin' Up online adventure called On Tour. So this is the one I want to play with today. I'm still fighting with glare with my lamps, but I'm trying to figure out how to work around that, and eventually I'll figure it out. But so today we're going to use this stamp set, and we're going to do some basic stamping, nothing too fancy, but still a really effective card. And then for my sentiment, this one has no sentiments, and I do want a sentiment on my card. So I'm just going to use a little piece from the Hello Beautiful stamp set, which was from the Hello Beautiful did roll over into the new catalog, but the Uniquely Artistic is brand spanking. So I'll show you it here in the catalog. It's on page 114. If you don't have your catalogs yet, don't panic. They're coming. They were mailed out last week, but as I understand it, mail is a little slow these days, like everything else. So this is the stamp set we're going to use here, and it's one of those two-part stamp sets that I really enjoy because not every day is a good coloring day for me. And so with this stamp set, you're going to stamp out your details, and then you stamp your color on instead of having to use your pens to stamp the color on, okay? And then we're also going to use a set that actually rolled over into the new catalog. I wanted to try, I wanted to show you this really cute set. I'm getting a little tired of putting the same stitched rectangles inside my card, so I have ordered some new things, and I'm looking to some new things for the insides of my cards. And so I thought we would work with this Stitched Whimsy. It's on page 175, and it's a really cute die set. And with this one, it doesn't cut out the different shapes. What you're doing with this is you're cutting a square or a rectangle and then adding this stitched detail to it. There we go, adding the stitch detail to it. So it's going to be a rectangle like so, but it's going to have this detail around it. So that's what I thought I would try today just for fun. So let's get on with it. Oh, just let me show you one more exciting. I thought I would show off some sweets. I showed you the one with the Happy Forest, so I thought I'd show you Lovely in Linen, which is on page 24. And again, like I say, sweets are a really great way to go to get, you've got the paper that goes with, you've got sentiments if there are any, you've got sentiments, you've got stamps, paper. This one happens to be, the bundle happens to be a stamp set, which is this, plus a punch, this beautiful punch here for making great labels and that sort of thing, and then a nice selection of paper, and there's something right here, and I don't know what it is. It might be a embossing folder. I'm looking to see. Okay, just a second. Photopolymer stamp set, designer series, it is. It's quatrefold embossing folder. So when you buy things in a suite, it's cool because you get all kinds of things that go together. Hi, Dorothy. Nice to see you. Just showing another sneak peek of a suite that's in the catalog right now, in the new catalog, that might be interesting to you. So let's put that away for the moment, and let's press on with our task today. I'm going to be using Calypso Coral, Soft Succulent, and Evening Evergreen. A little bit of blends, although at this very second I can't remember what I'm using the blends for, but you know, I'll figure it out. I figure things out as I go. So for our card base, we're going to use the same measure. We're going to cut our card stock in half lengthwise. So this is 4 1/4 by 11, and then we're going to score it at 5 1/2. So our card opens sort of a tall card rather than a side-to-side card. It's a tall card, okay? And this is Soft Succulent, and I just thought it was a good accent color for what we're going to be doing with the stamp set. My next layer is going to be the Evening Evergreen, which, as you know, I have cut the same size as my card base because I will cut it down in increments as I choose. I don't want to commit to the size until I see how things are going, and then I will cut it down in increments. And then the card that we're going to be doing the stamping on, this is very vanilla. I just felt like something a little softer than the basic white, so this is very vanilla cardstock, and that's what we're going to stamp on. So let's get our layers figured out first. So my Soft Succulent, I don't want a very big show around my Soft Succulent, so I'm going to take my Evening Evergreen, my handy dandy trimmer here, and I'm going to cut down, I think I'm going to do 2 notches of the ruler, okay? By now I'm sure you have figured out how I do my layers. I don't necessarily follow the layer rules. I do whatever feels good to me. So I'm going to cut this down 2 notches on 2 sides only and give myself a little bit of a show. I like to see that Soft Succulent, so it's just a small amount off. And the reason I'm doing this next is I need to determine what size my very vanilla layer is going to be. You see that? So I'm showing some of the Soft Succulent, but not a ton, okay? And so since I like the bit I've got around here, I'm going to follow the same rule for the cardstock, the very vanilla cardstock that I'm going to use for my stamping. I'm going to follow that same rule, so I'm going to cut off, that would have to be 4 notches. So I'm going to cut off 1/4 inch right now. I'm going to cut off 1/4 inch and see how I feel about that. I don't want to cut off too much. So I'll cut off 1/4 inch on 2 sides. Well, I like the combination of these papers with the inks that I'm going to use. So let's see what this looks like on top of here. And you see, I should have gone one more. I am going to go another notch, okay? I'm going to go another notch. I just think I want a little bit more to show than that. So it would have been 3 notches or 1 inch and a notch, or 1/4 inch and a notch. So hi, Shanda. Nice to see you. Lovely to see you. We're just going to play with this uniquely artistic stamp set today. So I'm okay with my layers the way I have them now, okay? I like to sort out my layers first. So that's my layers. So your Soft Succulent for the card, Evening Evergreen for your first layer, and this is the layer we're going to do some stamping on. So I'm just going to get out my stamping blocks, and I'm going to start out by stamping in the Soft Succulent. And I'm going to stamp right onto this layer, so that means I'm going to need a piece of messy paper for underneath. And I'm just going to I'm trying to use up this old cardstock I have that is not Stampin' Up. That's not really going to work for me. So let's get out a sheet of this. Let's get one of these. Oh! There we go. Let's get out a new one of these because, you know, why not? I'm going to make a mess. Let's just make a mess the right way. So there's my sheet, because I am going to be going over the edge of my very vanilla cardstock, okay? So I'm going to start with, now this is a card I'm casing, by the way. For those of you who don't know what casing is, there's a couple of definitions. It's C-A-S-E. One of them is copy and selectively edit, And the other one is copy and share everywhere. So no matter how you look at it, this is a case, and I cased it from Christie's Stamping Spot on Pinterest because I just really like the way the stamps worked out on this card. So we're going to start with our soft succulent, and I'm going to get out my first stamp. See these great shapes of stamps? I love that you can color without using it. I'm not always in the mood to do the blends thing. Sometimes I just like to add color with a stamp. So I love these kind of two-part stamp sets. You've been out busily running around there, have you, Shanda? I haven't been. I'm just trying to stay home a little bit more these days. I find I'm getting overtired because I've been doing too much running around. So I'm just going to grab my Stampin' Block here and lay my first piece on. Now this is a two-part stamp, as I mentioned. So you've got the piece over here that is the detail, and then the piece over here that's going to be the color. So we're going to lay down the detail first. It just works out better that way. So let's ink this up. And I'm inking it up in soft succulent. I don't want anything too crazy. And I'm just gonna, look at that. Isn't that nice? The detail is amazing. So I'm going to do one there, and then I'm going to do another one while I've got this particular stamp on. I'm going to do another one, and I think I'm going to I'm not too worried about what's going on in the center here because it's going to get covered up a little bit, but this is just laying our foundation to do our fancy work on. So don't worry too much about this overlap here. It's not going to be a big problem, okay? So next I'll get I'm going to take this one off here, and next I'm going to get my, oh, a funeral, that's not fun. No, funerals are not fun. Ugh. Not a fun way to spend the day. Unfortunately, I've been to a few too many of them lately, so I don't know. I guess we're at that age. But so now I'm going to lay down some color, and again, I'm going to leave the color the same at the soft succulent. And what I want to do is, and I'm sorry if I get my head in the way, but I want to lay this down. Oh, something's coming up on my computer that you don't really need to see. There we go. So I'm just going to lay some color down here on top of my stamp. Sorry about my rapidly graying hair. I'm 68 years old, and I'm just starting to go gray. It's kind of weird. My father passed away at 80, and he had a full head of you know what? I don't like that. I'm starting over. I think I want a second generation stamp. Sorry, people, but that's just, I don't like that at all. It's too dark. So let's do this again. That's okay. We can do it again, right? There's nothing stopping us from doing it again. Yeah, I think we're getting to that age where, you know, it used to be all we did was go to weddings. It's a little different now. Okay, so let's try that again, and we're going to give us our detail stamp there. And then I'm going to do this one first so I can be sure of what it's going to look like. I did not like that at all. It doesn't look good, the one I just did. So I'm going to put this one on, and I'm going to maybe do a second generation stamp there. Yes. I just want light color. I don't want anything too crazy. Much better. You see that? See the difference here? Huge difference, right? And that's what I'm after. I'm after this sort of lighter, nothing too bizarre kind of situation. So let's set that one aside. I can always use the flip side for something else. And then we'll repeat that and do our detail stamp. And our detail stamp we did first generation, and that's okay. I'm just going to plop that down right about there. Okay, so we got two nice stampings there. And remember, second generation on this one. I'm saying that out loud because I'm the first person to forget that I said that, and then do it too strong. There we go. See, and I'm pretty pleased with that. I do like that. So now what I want to give it is just a little bit of, oh, I'm still going to need this. I want to give it a little bit more detail around, and I've got lots of opportunity to do that with this stamp set. So I've got a couple of little sections like this. I've got these darker leaves, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use those. I'm going to use the darker leaves. I'll just get them out. So I've got the darker leaves there. I'm going to use these smaller ones and another set of smaller ones. And I really think that's all I'm going to need there. So let's do this. So for this one, I think before I do some more soft succulent, I'm going to go to the evening evergreen so I can sort of get a feeling as to where the darker colors are going to be. So let me just get a block. Actually, not this one. I'll do this one first. So I'm just going to get a block. I'm going to lightly stamp some darker accent kind of stuff here. You see that? I like that. I love these colors. I just really, really love these colors. And I'll give it another hit right about there, I think. And maybe another one. There. At this point, we don't even know, or you don't even know what's going to show, because you don't actually know exactly what I'm doing yet. But we'll see what happens, right? I'm going to give this one a little shot from the upside down area, just to give it that little bit more color. Oh, I'm liking this so far. And I'm going to give this one more coming out from there. It kind of lends itself when you look at it. When you're looking at this, this has this long stem that goes here. So it's kind of, this stamp lends itself well to just popping itself into existing vines that you can see in the other stamp. So let's get ourselves a little, you know, I think I want a little bit more of this, but I'm going to do this in the soft succulent. So right now we're just laying down the groundwork for what we're going to do with the flowers, because the flowers are just gorgeous. Soft succulent, again, stamp it off. Right? And just some, almost like some shadowing here. It's nothing too much. We don't want anything too much. We just want to give it a little. Oh, that looks pretty, don't you think? Okay, so we're going to leave that for now. We may come back, but we're going to leave that for the moment, because right now I'm kind of liking the way it looks. I may decide I want a little bit more something there, but right now I think that's plenty. Plenty. I like that too. I'm a big fan of this. I'm a really big fan of this. I love that they all have their place. And again, like I was saying before with my dies, I know if I'm missing one, if there's one left over, and that happens to me, I lose. If the dies are too small or the stamps are too small, sometimes I lose them. They get stuck to something else or whatever. And so yeah, I do like that as well. I like that very much. So let's do some flowers. We're going to need 4 flowers here. So let's get the larger block, and we're going to start again with our detailed part, not the coloring in part, but the detailed part. Okay, and we're going to do this full strength, and I'm going to do 4 of these. I want 4 of these big beautiful flowers. Wait till you see these. They are so gorgeous. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I just love it. Love it, love it, love it. 4 flowers. And I think I'm going to feel the same way about the color. Adding the color, I think I'm going to want to have, thank you. Oh, hi, Eileen. I didn't see you pop in. Nice to see you. Did you get your catalog yet, Eileen? I think you said you did, right? Kim's still waiting for hers, and I think Karen got hers, but hang in there, Kim. It's coming, I promise you. I promise you. They were all sent at the same time. So now let's get that same block, and we're going to add our color. So the coloring portion of the block. Now let's try this out. I think I want to stamp off. Yes, I want to stamp off. Okay, so 2nd generation stamp on this one, otherwise it's a bit much. Okay, so stamp off, and then stamp on the flower, give it a real good push. Look at that. See, not only does this color for you, but as you can see on here, the stamp itself gives you shading, okay? It's not just a plop of color. It's got shading in there, which really makes a big difference in the overall effect of the stamping. So again, remember you're going to stamp off. I'm saying that more for me than for you because I forget to. Oh, good. I'm glad you got it. See, Kim, yours is coming. It's just a little slow. Maybe mail is slower in your neck of the world. Who knows, right? I know when Ange was sending her stuff out, I was getting mine in West Kelowna faster than her people were getting things in North Van being mailed from North Van. So it's just weird. It's just weird. Look at those flowers. Look at those flowers. Are they gorgeous or what? Stamp off. And there we go. So we got our beautiful 4 flowers. Now, what we're going to do here is a little bit of fussy cutting. But these ones are really easy to fussy cut. So I'm going to start by cutting 2 all the way around the whole flower. I'm just going to separate them here because I find it easier. Up to you how you do it, but I find it easier to separate them. So 1, 2, 3, 4 flowers. Boy, I'll tell you what, I'm not getting any younger. I was out helping my husband yesterday building a shed, and up and down a ladder, up and down and up and down the ladder, handing him nails, you know, just being a helper. But I am exhausted. It's funny. You think you're doing okay until you try and do something like that, and next thing you know, boom. I was in bed early last night. I woke up this morning and absolutely everything hurt. I'm thinking, I might be getting old, which I refuse to do on a normal basis, but I think it might be catching up with me. This is not fun at all. Actually, it was really fun building. We're building a little garage to put toys in. We have toys. So 1 flower. Let me just whip out these other ones. Quick like a bunny. The trick to fussy cutting is move the paper, not the scissors. I'm just rolling the paper around how I want it. I am not the world's greatest fussy cutter, nor am I the world's fastest. Some of these gals, I see them fussy cut, and they just whip around. They're so fast. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting dizzy watching them. I could never do it that fast. But I have to say, I'm better than I was when I started out. I've been in Stampin' Up! For 3 years now. And I'm a lot better at fussy cutting than I was when I started. So it does get better. It does get easier. 1, 2. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Not everything comes with a die, so sometimes it's a necessary evil. But I don't mind doing it. I find it fairly relaxing. And if you're doing a whole bunch of things, like I'm in a swap, that's with a new catalog swap. And so if you're doing a whole bunch of things, I have a tendency to stamp everything out, and then I take it in and I do my fussy cutting while I'm watching TV. Kind of look at those flowers. And you know what? The reason that I love these flowers so much, more so than the first ones I tried, is because they're stamped on very vanilla, not white, okay? Sometimes the very vanilla just adds a, I don't know, I want to call it a buttery kind of a deal to it. And it's just so nice and soft. I don't always use the Whisper White. Sometimes the very vanilla is just, generally if I'm using a DSP, I will stick to the color that is in the background of the DSP, because if your background is white and you start using very vanilla, it can look a little odd. And then some of the backgrounds are very vanilla, so, you know, name your poison. But I really like the very vanilla for these flowers because I think it's giving them a softer kind of an effect. Okay, all right. Okay, so we've got our flowers, and how our flowers are going to go is kind of like this and like this, but we're only having 2 flowers. And so the second flower, we're going to cut portions out of it. Now, I don't know if you can see, if I'm holding this flower like this, I can see sort of a 1, 2, 3 situation, okay? The top one and the 2 bottom ones. And so I'm going to fussy cut out the 2 outside petals of these flowers. Just roughly. And we're not dealing with the white or the very vanilla showing over top, because it doesn't. Because we're stamped on it. So just very loosely. Let's see what I've got here. So it's sort of taking off those 2 outside bits. And it just gives our flowers a little more dimension when we go to put them together. Okay? The weather up here has just been absolutely gorgeous, although, sure enough, you know, we start building this shed, and now we've got rain coming. So my husband's kind of in a push out there to get the shed going. You know what? I think I want a little more something. Now that I'm laying my flowers on, I want something up here. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to take my soft succulent and my outlines of those vines. I'm going to add a little bit because I really like the idea. Now, let's make sure that I'm not putting, I want to put it like that. I want to make sure I'm not, you know what? I'm going to mask some of this, okay? So to mask it, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a piece of my Post-it note that has, the Post-it note that has Stickum all over it, not the one that just has the Stickum on the edge. And we have masking paper coming in the new catalog. For anyone who's got a catalog, you may have seen it. But there's some masking paper in there. And I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to. So I'm just sticking this piece of paper on here because I don't want to have too much overload on this section here. So I want to add this sort of alternate to what I've got there. Okay, see that? So I haven't added way too much down there. So I'll need to do the same thing to stamp the color in behind that, or over top of that. And I'm just going to need to kind of guesstimate where that will be. So let me look. So I'm gonna mask it right about halfway down, I guess. And what I actually can do also is only color it that far. Sometimes you're able to do that. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. Just show you 2 ways to do it. I'm going to just take the color off of that, stamp once, and stamp a second time. There we go. See? So even though it looks a little bit, oh, and look what I did. I got ink right there. Oh, I'm mad at myself now. Oh, well, here comes a dimensional. Okay, I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more of the darker detail here. So let's add some there. Darn it, and it's not somewhere I can add a leaf either. It would look funny to have a leaf way out there. So I'm kind of stuck with that little goober. I'll have to figure something out. Yeah, Eileen, I think that maybe you and Kim may or may not have been in the same class at some point. The likelihood is that you were, because Kim took pretty much every class I ever taught. And I know that you were in a lot of them as well, Eileen. So, all right, so next we're going to take our flowers. Let me get the ink off my thumb before I make a bigger mess. We're going to take our flowers and we're just going to kind of manipulate that paper a bit. We're taking some of the stiffness out of the paper. The paper has a tendency to be quite stiff. Yeah, embellishment's coming, Dorothy. I'm just trying to figure out if I can get away with putting one there. I'll see what I can come up with. I do have a bit of an idea though, but I just don't know if it'll work. All right, so let's just give this flower a little bit of a bend so that it takes away the stiffness of the paper. And I know for a fact that I got out some dimensionals. Okay, so let's go get out some more, since I'm not quite sure where they went. They wandered on me, which things often do. So I'm just going to put maybe 2 dimensionals close together on the back of this. I don't want those leaves stuck down at all. So I'm going to put 2 real close together on the back and choose where I want to put this. And I think right about there is good. Right about there. And then I'm going to do another one. And these are the whole flowers, not the ones that I cut. Okay, these are the whole flowers. And I'm just manipulating them to make the paper a little softer. And a couple more of that one. And that one's going to go right about there. Okay, so now you can see where I'm going with these ones. These ones can get kind of, do the same thing with them. Take away some of the stiffness just by manipulating the paper a bit. And they're just going to get one dimensional, each one of them. We'll just have the one dimensional there. Oh, does not want to come off. And then just place these in any such a way that gives this flower a real 3-dimensional kind of look. Oh, sorry about my head. See that? That looks pretty cool. Now, I'm still thinking hard on that little ink spot there, what I can do. I'm thinking I can come up with a solution, but right now I want to concentrate on my sentiment. My sentiment's going to go here. Now I noticed the other day I had this kind of neat thing. This is Hello Beautiful. And in the die set for Hello Beautiful, which the name of the die set escapes me, but it's the Hello Beautiful bundle. There's this neat sort of, well, I think it's meant to be a sentiment, but anyways, we're going to do that. And let's see, I love this one that says this calls for celebration, because I like to make my cards just a little bit generic, meaning that if I have a birthday or something that I need to do, I can easily just pull something out. Like if I pull out this card and it says this calls for celebration, well, that could be a birthday card, no problem. So then I just open it up and stamp happy birthday on the inside. I don't necessarily make my outsides too committal for a certain occasion. So I'm going to stamp this in the Evening Evergreen, because it is one of my favorite colors to stamp sentiments in. It's such a rich color and a little bit softer than using a black. So I'm a big fan of this color. So I'm just going to use this piece that I made a mess of earlier. This calls for a celebration. So it could be for anniversary, it could be for birthday, it could be a baby having been born, although it's not a very babyish card, but it could be for you know, pretty much anything. And the font is just lovely. It really is. It's a great font. So let's get myself some washi tape, because we know already that there's no possibility of me cutting out this without the die moving. And this is kind of an odd shaped die, but it's really neat how it embosses the sentiment as well as cutting it out. It's just got little embossed circles around it, which look pretty cool. So give that a little bit of washi. And then I can use my small embossing machine for this one, because it's small embossing machine user friendly. So let's do that. And my plates. So there's a magnetic plate for this. I tried to order it. Shanda, did you try and order the magnetic plate? For some reason I couldn't order it, and I can't remember whether it said it was out of stock or just not available at this time. Maybe all the stuff isn't quite available yet, but there is a magnetic sheet for this one and the bigger one, a magnetic cutting plate. And the cool thing about that is, like, let's just pretend that this was a magnetic cutting plate. The cool thing about that is you could put your cardstock down. I'm going to have to trim that, hang on. You put your cardstock down, and then you can put your magnetic die cut down on top, and the magnetic cutting plate will hold it, so there's no need for washi tape. And the big one is in stock now in the new catalog. The big one is in the new catalog, but the little one, when I tried to order it, I wasn't able to, so I'm not sure what the scoop is there. But I'll keep it on the back burner, and I'll order it as soon as you're able to, because it really is. I ordered the big one too. And I don't know what's going on with the little one. I did try to order both. Did you get beautiful shapes, Kim? Oh, Shanda, yes, thank you for that. Yeah, the die set for Hello Beautiful is beautiful shapes, and I love that. And I have a card in my brain that I'm going to use those shapes for, that I'm pretty excited about. But it's one of those ones that's going to take a little working out for me to get it just the way I want it to be. So that is to be announced. Okay, so here's this great little. Look at this great little sentiment here, and I don't know that you can see it. But not only is it cut out in an interesting shape, it's also got embossing lines all around it in sort of like an oval. So what I want to do with this is, I think, let's see, I can't use that because I need it. So this is something that I often do when I think it needs a little something behind it. So I'm just going to take a little bit of Evening Evergreen, and I'm going to give this a little glue. And I'm going to glue it down to my Evening Evergreen. Oh, there we go. I'll just give that a second for the glue to dry. And then I want to fussy cut around it, so I'm getting a frame for it. There is another size of die in here, in these Hello Beautiful, but it's too big. It's the same shape and it's the same sort of type, but it's too big to get a border around the smaller one. So I just want a small border around it. So what I'm going to do is I just glued it down there. And now I'm just going to fussy cut around it, giving myself a little bit of an edge. Not too much, just a little bit of an edge. Thank goodness it doesn't have to be perfect, otherwise I would drive myself insane. I end up doing everything 15 times and still not being happy in the end. I've learned over the years to be happy with what I do and grateful that I can do it. Okay, so there we have it, this cute little sign here, or little sentiment here. See, isn't that pretty? So that I'm going to put up on a couple of dimensionals. Now we need to experiment. We need to experiment and see what I can do about my goober there, because it's not making me happy. I'm going to put 3 dimensionals on there because why not, right? Why not? Why not? I haven't been much help to my husband with that shed, but I think he knows I got a little bit worn out yesterday. Oh, I've got a little corner on here I'm not happy with. I want this to be more rounded. Okay. Oh, it stuck to me. It stuck to me. Okay. There we go. So I love that. I just think that looks great. This calls for celebration, right? Now, let's see what we can do. Can we call in the trusty linen? Maybe? Could we do that? Figure out what to do about my goober? Oh, I'm so angry that I did that. Well, no, angry is a very strong word. I'm not angry. It's just like, it's kind of typical for me to do that. So let's just see if we can do something. Let's just see. What if I did a few rounds of linen? I do have another ribbon I can use, but I'm afraid it would be a little too bold. Let's see what this does. Let's just see what this does. If I could tie myself a bow that would kind of maybe a little bit cover that ink spot, I could be maybe okay with it. I know I look awkward as heck, but that's how it is sometimes when I'm trying to tie a bow. Okay, I can kind of sort of hide it. And you know what I think I can do? See, I can kind of sort of hide it, and I think that looks all right. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an ink dot, or not an ink dot, I'm going to take a glue dot. I'm going to ball it up so small, like they come off of here. They come off of here. Where's something sharp? Here we go. When you look at these glue dots, they come off of here in a sort of a roundish manner. I don't know if you can see that, but they come off of here in a sort of a roundish manner. So I thought what I might do is ball it up a little bit, stick it directly on my boo-boo, if I can get it there, and stick my bow down to it. There, you see? That worked out pretty good, I think. I'm gonna decide to be happy with that because it does hide my boo-boo. I don't feel too bad about it now. And who doesn't need a little linen on a card, right? Why not? I love linen. So there we go. I got a little linen bow. So now this piece is going to go. Do you know what I did? Oh my gosh, somebody shoot me. When I changed pieces, remember I goofed up on my stamping and I changed pieces? This piece is too big now. All right, bear with me, bear with me. I do make some crazy mistakes, but the good news is I think I can get myself out of this one. Let's see how much I can cut off of that side. Oh, darn it. That makes me mad. All right, do you remember I changed pieces and I forgot that I had already cut this piece down to where I wanted it to be. So let's see what I can do here. This would be experiments in unscrewing up your screw-ups. That would be about right. Okay, which almost takes care of my boo-boo. Okay, this is recoverable, people. I'm so excited. Okay, let's just get this bit a little bit more off this side. And just a tiny bit. No, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. It's scaring me. I am going to do it. A tiny bit more off this side. Tiny bit. Tiny bit. Not quite my boo-boo, but close, you know. Not the whole boo-boo, but pretty close. There we go. All right, so we've got the two sides that we can fit on here now. Yes, we do. And I'm going to take off a little bit off the top. Look at that. I love it when I can undo my silliness. A little bit off the top. Let's see where we are. And a little bit more off the bottom, which is, I don't mind that because there was a piece on, a bit on the bottom there that I wasn't overly jazzed about. Tiny bit more. Tiny bit. Let's take it off the top. So maybe not my cleverest day, but you know what? And I don't need my linen. That little dot on there is so minimal. I think I'm going to decide to be okay with it. That little tiny bit of ink. Look at that. All right. I love it. Did you make a mistake too? I make mistakes all day, every day. It's just the way I roll. But you know what? As long as you can laugh at your mistakes and move on, what the hey, right? It's only paper. It's only paper. And I've long since gotten over being embarrassed about the mistakes I make. I think it's a great learning tool. When you make a mistake and people are watching, it's like, you know, it's a great learning tool of how to get out of that one and how to cope with things. And the older I get, the more mistakes I make. But hey, you know what? I just do what I do. I just do what I do, and I love what I do. So there you go. There you go. All right, so let's get that down a little bit lower, a little bit lower. There we go. Now, I think I want to pop this up. Now, you can see I've got two dimensionals here, right? I've got one under this flower. I've got another one under the next flower. Sorry, that was too close to the camera. Now, I've had people ask me before, well, if you pop them up like crazy like that, which I like to do, what about mailing them? And you know what? Here's the thing. If you go into the post office and you hand it to the girl and you say, how much is it going to cost me to mail this? She's going to tell you it's $1.25-ish, somewhere around there. But if you just shove it in an envelope, stick a regular stamp on it, throw it in the mail, it's going to arrive. So up to you how you want to play that. I think I want to dimensionalize it. Do I? I think maybe I do. Which is always a tad tricky because I find it harder to get it perfectly placed. But we're going to go with it since everything else today has certainly not been the easy way. Let's do this the hard way too. What the heck, right? Why not? Couple in the middle, no saggy middles, as Andrew would say. There we go. Pop those little guys off. Boom. I like this. I do. I'm going to ignore that little bit. We're just going to pretend that we can't see that little bit over there. It's so little that you'd be pretty hard pressed to find it. So what should we use for dimensionals? Now, the one I saw used these, but I'm not sure I'm too jazzed about those. So I think what I'm going to do is, that's what I had these out for. See, I knew it would come to me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own. I'm going to use my Calypso Coral blends and some rhinestones, always in the catalog. Love rhinestones. They're like my favorite thing. I'm going to use some rhinestones. Wait, I need to find some big ones that I haven't already colored. We're going to color some rhinestones. And I want to use a couple of the bigger ones. Some of these I've already colored. Excuse me. So we're going to color some rhinestones. I'm just going to take my Calypso Coral and I'm going to color myself a couple of rhinestones there and, a couple of maybe, So can you see the color? This is brilliant. It works really, really well. And if any of the color comes off while you're moving them, which sometimes happens to me, you can easily just go back and add a little more color. There we go. I'm looking for my Take Your Pick tool. So let's get this little guy here. And I'm going to pop him right there. And another big one, I think about there. And then I'm going to put a little one up in here. Look at that. How cute is that, right? Do you like it? I think it's very pretty. I think so. And Shanda, you know what? We're not perfect. We're not perfect. If we were perfect, well then life would be pretty boring. I think that if you can make your mistakes and show how to get out of them and not panic, I think you're way ahead of the game, because I do make a lot of them. So do you have time for me to show you something that I think is a miracle to me? You may have seen it before, you may not have seen it before, but I think it's the coolest thing. I'm just going to use 2 pieces of paper here that are something that I can't use for something else. I want to show you something that I discovered. So let's just pretend that this is my gorgeous, gorgeous card, okay? And I'm just going to put my second layer down, and I'm going to use my tape gun. And I'm going to put my layer down, just like I would on a card. This one's got, and I put it down here, but wait, it's crooked, and I didn't mean for it to be crooked. I really wanted that to be straight, but for whatever reasons, maybe I'm drunk and I didn't get it on there right. I want to show you what I learned that is the coolest thing. Please tell me I can. Okay. I took a box making class for making boxes to hold my cards for display. And I learned this there. Now, if you've already seen this before, great. If you haven't, this is a great thing. I've used the tape, like I said. This will not work if you've used glue. It only works with tape. And it works with the Stampin' Up tapes. It works with my generic tape that I'm using here. Whatever it is, it works. So I've made a mistake here. I put my next layer down wrong. I'm not happy with it, but I don't want to waste this paper because maybe I've got a stamp on here or something that I want to use. This is the greatest stuff. This is called Undo. It's a weird bottle. It's got a little sharp-edged platform that comes out here. And so what I'm going to do is take the lid off. This is not a Stampin' Up product, but they don't sell it, so it's okay for me to show you. I'm going to take the lid off, and I'm going to get a little bit of the solution down into there. And as this piece gets moist from the solution, it's going to peel right off my card. And you look at it and you go, oh my God, but you're getting your card wet, you're getting your base wet, everything's getting wet. Well, I'll tell you what, you can do this. Take it off, and I kid you not, in another minute or so, this piece will be dry and look like you never did anything to it whatsoever, and so will this piece. I'm not kidding. I do it all the time. It's amazing. It's an alcohol-based product, so you can see on this piece I've got little bits of tape left over, but they just brush off because they've been dislodged from the background. So in about 10 or 15 minutes, I will be able to reuse this piece of paper unaltered and this piece of paper unaltered and just put them right back together the way they were intended to be. It's pretty cool. I love it because I hate wasting stuff. And especially say I had done this and it had some flowers on the top and it had different things on it. I don't want to throw that in the garbage and start over. I just want to remove it from the base of the card because it's not where it belongs. I will send you info on this product. It's called Undo, and it's remover for adhesive, tapes, gum, tar, crayon, lip balm. That would have been handy to know about 5 years ago when I put 2 red lip balms through the wash with my white t-shirts. That would have been good to know. And more. Grease and more. Okay? It's not expensive. I think this, well, it depends on how you look at it. It's $12.99. I bought this in a card craft store, but I have since seen it. See how it's drying already? Look at my cardstock. But yes, you can get this at, Kim, I will send you some info. You can get this at Amazon. Maybe what I'll do, Kim, is I'll look it up on Amazon and send you the link because I have used it so much. I believe, well, look, see how full this bottle is? I don't know. It's about a third of the way down, and I've had it for probably a year and a half. So it's not a huge endeavor. It's not going to be costing you an arm and a leg unless you're using it every 5 minutes. But it really is a little miracle thing for me because we made these amazing little albums, and when you're 3/4 of the way through the album, and then all of a sudden you put a piece of paper down, in the wrong place. Oh my gosh, imagine the work to take that album apart. Can you see this piece of paper now? Can you see this paper, this cardstock? It's almost dry, and it looks every bit as good as it did when I first cut it on my trimmer, okay? And then this piece here, you're simply going to go in while it's still wet. It's dried now, but while it's still wet, these little bits of, actually they're coming off easily now, these little bits of extra glue are going to come off, so you're left with two completely clean pieces of paper that you can then go in and re-glue them the way they're supposed to be without your crooked bit there. So pretty funny. I just thought I'd share that little bit of information with you in case you run across that. Also, coloring rhinestones, one of my favorite things to do, because sometimes I don't just have the right color of sentiment or the right color of, not sentiment, the right color of ribbon or the right color of embellishment to put on a card. So to be able to just take your average rhinestones, take your blends, or your markers, whichever. I just have a lot of blends. I don't have a lot of markers. Your blends or your markers, and color them. It's perfect. And when you go to put them on, if you need to use your finger to put it on, don't worry about that, because sometimes if you use your finger after you've colored them, some of the color will come off on your finger. Just go back in with your pen while it's still on the card and give it another little shot of color. It's easy peasy to do, right? Okay. Look at the mess I've made. Oh my gosh, it's not fun unless you've made a big mess like I have. So I hope you enjoyed that card. I will be posting it later. Also, if you don't know, Shanda, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been very active on YouTube, and I've been working really hard at getting good at YouTube. And so I would love it if you stop by. Same with Instagram. I'm working on getting really good at that platform as well. And so if you're looking for something to do, check me out on YouTube, Stampin' with Casey. Unfortunately, I seem to have two channels over at YouTube. Don't ask me how I did that. Anything is possible when it's me. And so pick the channel that has the most subscribers. One of them has 2 and one of them has a lot more than that. So go ahead and subscribe and like me if you'd like to like me. You don't have to like me, but it would be nice if you did like me. And same with Instagram. I'm Stampin' with Casey on Instagram as well. And on the Instagram, I am putting up posts with the card that will show you all of the items that I'm working on. It. Don't get too excited yet. It's a work in progress. But I'm working on putting up my cards and putting up all the details of everything I used for my cards, so that you can just sort of one click and go buy it. If you thank you, Kimmy, I love you too. That you could sort of one click go in and buy any of the items that you saw on my post today. So I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. It was fun to work through my boo-boos with you. And uniquely artistic, brand new in the catalog, and it's a really, really fun stamp set. I still have lots of things in mind. Think of all the colors. Think of these flowers and leaves in purples and pinks. Oh my goodness, how beautiful, right? All right, so enjoy your evening. I better go out and help my husband get the roof on, because it looks like the rain is coming, so I'm going to go out and make some more mussels. So enjoy your evening, and check out my Instagram and my YouTube, and I will see you next time. I expect to be on again tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I'm hoping it will be fun. Bye for now.